guys, so today's my last wrap up of 2023. So it is the first day of the month, so January 1st, and it is a new year. It always feels weird coming back to January, I swear, because it's suddenly just like, what? Where's the time gone? How are we in a new year? But I'm excited because I'm going to talk about the books I read in November and December. But I've been like morphing my wrap-ups a lot more often now because I just don't read as much. Like 3 books in a video just doesn't feel worth it. But 11, which is actually above average for what I generally read, is like a good sized chunk of reading to wrap up. But I'm excited to talk about the books that I have read, and let's just get into it because I've read quite a few good ones. I listened to 3 audiobooks, read 8 physical books, but I had a great time reading, and it's really kind of crazy that this is like the end of reading for 2023. It's just so weird. So the first book I finished was Winter by Marissa Meyer. I was reading this book for like nearly 2 months, honestly, because I started it on the way to my UK trip where I was reading it in Sydney. I was reading it on the plane, and Kat from Brews and Reviews was also reading it at the time, but she was listening to it. So on all the trains, I was physically like making my way through this book while she was listening, and we buddy read it at the same time, obviously, and it was a great experience. And I do have a vlog. There is a reading vlog dedicated to winter that has not happened yet. I will do it, but I've just been very lackluster in the booktubing side of video making, like travel vlogs. I've been enjoying doing that, but I've had no time to do my booktube stuff. So I'm going to try and get some more videos out there because there's a lot of stuff to wrap up for 2023, but I will get the vlog up eventually for my reading experience of winter. But I did really enjoy it. This was my first time reading it, so this book came out like, what, 8 years ago or some shit. Finally finished it. Like, I have finally read this series and I'm very proud of that, but oh my god, it took me so long to finally get to this book. But I did really enjoy it. I do feel like the end was slightly rushed though. Like, this is an 800-page book and everything in it was like really good to read and to see. And I still feel at this point that Marissa Meyer could have just snuck in an extra 50 pages. Like, it was already 800 pages. What's 850 in the grand scheme of things? But I still am very proud of myself for finally finishing this series though. But like, I'm kind of sad now because like, I always had another Lunar Chronicles book and now it's over. Then I finally finished reading Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and oh my god, Book Talk got me, and a lot of my friends too, because this was shite. Oh my god, why is everyone hyping up this book when it's actually kind of literal garbage? The first half was so painful, but then the second half it did get better, but there is just nothing great about this book. I gave it 3 stars. Honestly, in the last couple of years I haven't been very mean in my ratings, so 3 is an average rating, but like, there's a very like, some of my 3-star books are really good and some of them are shit. There's like no in between really, but it's just 3 is a broad overarching rating. It's 4 and 5 stars is when you know I really like a book, but I just didn't like it, and I don't plan on reading any of the other books, even though the third one, like on the cover, the girl has one of the Taylor Swift cardigans on it, and I'm like, that's a vibe. But no, I can't put up with anything else because it's meant to be this hate to love romance when literally he's a golden retriever who loves her from the beginning. And it's the way that they have to keep being like, oh, Anastasia's so mean. She's bossy. She's grumpy. She's an asshole. The girl just has a vision of where she wants to go. And the things that she hates him for are so lackluster. Like, it's not hate to love. It's just dumb. And I didn't like the way that this is meant to be this whole, oh my god, she's a figure skater and he's a hockey player and then he has to help her and he's gonna like figure skate with her and all the, it took nearly 250 pages for that part of the story to start. Like, why is it marketed as a hockey ice skating romance and then they don't do the thing for 250 pages? And then it's very second grade, like it doesn't matter. It's like, what was the point of this book? Like, I don't recommend it. It's not great. The writing's not great. And there is quite a lot of smut that didn't need to be in here. And some scenes very public where there was other people in the car. Like, that's telling you enough. But like, ew. And then I made the mistake of continuing on by reading Barbarian Alien by Ruby Dixon. And again, just why? What is the point of these books? Like, I was reading these just because I was like, oh god, don't think about it, this is gonna be fun. But like, I can't with how like non-consensual these boys are. Like, it's hurtful. And I understand that there's a little bit of grey area with alien romances because they don't understand what consent is, but they need to know. And the women don't educate these men. They just let it happen and they're all like, oh well, like, no. You need to educate your boys, and I feel like every book, it's going to be the same thing, and there's 20 of them. I feel like eventually I will listen to the third one, see how it is, but, like, and it's weird because, like, the romance can be kind of cute. Like, I liked their hate to love romance and the way that he really wanted to protect her, and they were cute, and he wanted to take care of her, but there's so many elements I don't like, and it's all these men who are like, oh my god, there's women here, we can finally fuck. No. That's not how this works. So I know a lot of people that have read a lot of them, and I'm not saying that people who do read them think that these are like A-class reads. Most people also think that they're trash, but like good trash, but I'm like on the line here of being like, it's kind of bad trash. So like, I need a break. I've read the first two, but I need a break. They're just too much. And then I finally decided to read Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, because I literally read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder at the end of last year, which is like the year before last year. What is going on? Time is hard, but I loved this. Like, I think I even like this more than the first book, because the main thing is, like, in the first book, Pip and Ravi are like, they get closer, they become friends and everything, but there was no romance. It wasn't important. Like, you could see them getting closer and you knew that there was probably stuff happening in the background, but it was none of this inner monologue of being like, oh, I like him, what do I do, blah blah blah. Like, it seemed like it wasn't going to go to the romance side of things, and then at the end of the book there was an inkling, but they're like together in this book, and it's just cute because they're just together. They support each other, they love each other, and they make a good couple. And I personally like having the extra bit of, like, they talk about their romance and they go on dates and they do coupley things and they're very cute, and the way that they talk about each other is really cute. Like, Ravi is actively obsessed with Pip, and it's so cute because, like, he understands her and he is just what she needs. But I just loved this so incredibly much. It's such a good book, and I also really like too that, like, with the first book, it's about a murder case that happened years previous, so all the evidence is old. Like, there's nothing pressing besides just wanting to know the truth. But in this book, someone gets taken. So this is a very active, time-sensitive thing, because it's like, if you don't know what happened to them, time is running out. So that's what it was, like, very high stakes. I loved the way that Pip's brain works, how she really develops cases in her head. Like, she's so incredibly smart, and I just love following her brain, and this book was just great. And I didn't plan on it, but I did it anyway. But I had to read the third book, As Good as Dead, and oh my god, it got too much. Like, the second book is actually peak of the series for me. Like, I love the first book as well, but this book just got too unbelievable, and it made me sad because I didn't like the direction this book took. It was not expected, but it does make sense in the, like, overarching, like, the three books link to each other and it's all important. But I personally didn't like this plot point that took up half the book. Like, there was definitely an important thing happening, because what happens in this book is Pip has a stalker and she doesn't know who they are, and it's obviously scary because are they going to do something to her, or are they just innocently stalking? Like, what's happening? So, like, that's what the plot of this book was, and that was resolved very quickly. And then the other thing that happened took up so much time that like, there's things I like about it, and it is interesting. Like, I've never seen a book do this, and I just think of how improbable what happened actually is. It's our world, so it doesn't feel like it should exist kind of thing, but I still really do like the series, and I'm very excited for the TV show, and I really can't wait for it to come out. So that was my November reading, and in December, like, I was nowhere near reaching my Goodreads goal, but I did read a lot more than I expected to, which is still fun for me. So firstly, I read Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman, and I feel like I've been waiting an age for this volume. And last year I reread all the comics, and then I reread Volume 4 a few months ago, but I was just so excited. Like, I couldn't believe I finally had this in my hand. I read it in one sitting, basically, because of course the day I buy the book I'm gonna read it, because, like, I need to know. And thankfully this one is a lot more uplifting and a lot happier, and it's just cute. Like, I love Nick and Charlie so much, and it's starting to lead into stuff that happens in the novellas, and obviously university's coming up, but I just love their relationship, and they started to explore a lot more things now that they're older, which is actually really cute. I like the way that it was handled, but it wasn't, like, sexualized, which is great, because it's kind of hard in a graphic novel to, like, you know, you can't really show it. It comes a bit porny, but I love them so much. They're so connected, they're so cute, and oh my god, I saw some of the Q&As that Alice Oseman did today, and she drew some of the bits of them in their 50s still together, and they have kids, and I was like, I love them so much, and I'm so sad we only have one more volume, but we get season 3 at some point next year, and hopefully they get a season 4 renewal, but season 4 will be the last season they do, because that's where Alice wants to end it, and that's where she wants the story to finish, and it's going to end with university and certain things like that is what she said. But I am highly expecting there to be a 4th season, considering we got season 2 and 3 renewed really quickly, but you never know with Netflix because they like to crush your soul. Then I listened to Mad About You by Mahari McFarlane. I haven't listened to one of her books for quite a while. I've had this one downloaded and saved for ages, and I actually listened to 10 minutes of it like 10 months ago and never got back into it. So I finally was like, you know what, I gotta listen to the ones I've got downloaded before I listen to anything else. And I actually loved this. She writes such a compelling story that's always got so many underlevel emotions of different things, because in this book our main character Harriet is in a relationship with a man who she's kind of settled for him, but she's happy where she is, but she's never wanted to get married. And they go to this like anniversary dinner thing for his parents, and he springs a proposal on her at the dinner. So she's just floored that he would do that when he knows how opposed to marriage she is. So they kind of break up really quickly. She gets out of the situation and she moves in with a guy who, he's important to the story, but I don't want to talk about the reason why, because it was a really fun thing to learn. But then you find out that the boyfriend before this guy, who was a mentally abusive, controlling guy, so she's been very scarred by her past relationship. So it's about healing more than her new relationship. And at first I was kind of a bit sad about it, because as you're going along with the book you just realize that there is like, the romance is there, but it's very base level in the story. It's definitely about female friendships and healing and just like coming together and getting through things, and that side of the book is really powerful, because as the book goes along a lot of things get brought to light that she has to deal with, and there's a lot of things happening which is like really harmful for her as well, because like mentally she just went through so much when she was in both of these relationships, and there is a lot of important meanings and messages in what happens. But Cal is the guy. I love him so much. They were so cute, and we only got a tiny little thing at the end, but I just loved this story. It was really good. I would highly recommend this one if you want like a more of a serious tone story, but it's just done really well. Then I read The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is what I've been wanting to read for ages, and I'm so glad I finally read it, and I absolutely loved it. I would highly recommend everyone to read this because it was such a good romance, and it gives the Lake House vibes. It is a movie I watched straight after reading this as well, and it definitely does. It's just so cute because there is this apartment that like time travels, and you never know when it's going to happen or where it's going to bring you, but it will either take you 7 years in the past or 7 years in the future, but it doesn't do both. It only does one or the other, and it's basically the concept of there's a person that you need to meet in a certain time, and it like meant to help in your life kind of situation where it's like you never know when it's going to happen, and it doesn't happen to everyone. So Clementine goes back in 7 years and she meets a man named Ewan, and they meet each other a couple of times, and then in the future in 7 years she meets him in the present as well. And basically it's just about how different people can be in 7 years time, and how life is an ever-changing thing, and it's about a really beautiful romance of how is it going to work if what you knew of me in the past isn't who I am in the future. And it was just really well done, and I highly recommend it. And Lemon Man, Ewan, I love him. He's amazing. And to be fair, I did really like young Ewan because he was a little cinnamon pole. Like mature Ewan is a bit more stern and sad, but I highly recommend it. It's just beautifully done, and I really am so excited that Ashley Poston has moved to being an adult contemporary author, just with these little paranormal spins. It's so good. And then I'm sad because I read Stars Above by Marissa Meyer, so it's fully done now. There's nothing else for me to read, and our buddy read for 2023 was done. And I think Kat and I are going to read a series for 2024 that we can like work our way through. I'm thinking maybe Falling Kingdoms, because it's a 6-book series. We can like read a book every now and then. It might be fun. And she has never read it. I've only read the first book, so I feel like that could be a vibe. But we'll see what we end up doing, but we'll read something. But yeah, Stars Above is a collection of novellas, and I have read a couple of them because some of the books had novellas at the end. So I've read a couple, but most of them I've never read before, and I feel like a little so-and-so with some. So I gave this book 4 stars, and it was like an average of my rating of each story individually, but some of them I don't think we needed, because we already got enough information in the main series, but then there was others that really expanded on characters. Like, I really liked Scarlet's story, and I really liked Wolf's story as well, but that's one that I had read before, but it just been a while. And I really liked Winter and Jason's story because it was really cute. But I also think the best part of this is we get a novella for after, with the wedding of one of our couples, and it's beautiful. It was great. I really liked having this extra bit. And how I complained in Winter about how the story felt very rushed, I'm so glad that we got this epilogue, like, extra of where they are in their lives and that they're all happy and things seem to be good, and that's all I wanted. So I really did enjoy this. It was a great read, but again, I'm sad that it's over. And then I finished another series by reading Killjoy by Holly Jackson, which is the novella that is set before the main series, where they do a murder mystery party. And basically this is just a fun little story to see how Pip's brain works and how it makes sense that she's able to solve murders, because she is incredibly smart and she got so invested in this game when she didn't want to be there in the first place. But I thought it was really fun, but it's also really interesting to see some of the characters before everything happens, because there is a few dickish ones in there, so having to put up with them in this story, I was just like, oh, you guys suck. But I do really recommend this trilogy. It is so easy to binge, even though I didn't read the first one with my full binge, but I really did enjoy this. And my last read of the year, which I do feel like is very on point, is Wreck the Halls by Abbeyleec, because I ended the year with a Christmas book. So I listened to this on audiobook, and it didn't take me too long because I was journaling at the time, so I was listening to it quite quickly. But I did end up really enjoying this. I gave it 4 stars. It is definitely not one of her best books, but I do think it is one of her worst. So I thought it was quite cute, but I really like the way that they're both children of really famous people. So we've got Octavia and Trina. They were bandmates and they were really close, and then something happened and they had a really bad falling out. So Melody and Beat are their children, and they haven't seen each other ever, really, except for one time when they met at 16. But basically the world wants there to be a reunion of the band. So a production company comes to Melody and Beat saying, hey, do you want to do a show with us where you try and reunite your parents? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. $1 million payday. Sounds like a great idea. And basically they're on live stream all day, every day up until Christmas, trying to reunite the parents as they fall in love. And I thought it was really cute. I thought they had a great romance. There was some stuff with Beat though that, like, I'm not really into, like, kink stuff. So there was a thing with him that I was just like, this isn't great to read. I mean, they said good girl one time and I was like, but I did like their romance. They are very cute, and they do seem very connected for the fact that, like, they've always been in the spotlight with having famous parents. And I love the parents as well, because, like, they are so different from each other, but they managed to make such a cool band together. But I do recommend this. It was quite a fun read, and I just really enjoyed the experience with this book. I do think this is a pretty good pile for 2 months of reading though, and I got through some really good books. Like, yes, there were some low options in here, but overall I feel like I had a really good time reading this year. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this video of my wrap up, and we'll see how 2024 goes for reading, because I have decided I want to have like a mood reading year. So I'm going to try and not read books I have to read. Like, there will be things like readathons where I will try and read things. Maybe a movie comes out and I want to read the book, or I just want to finish a series before something else comes out. Like, there'll be certain things like that, but mostly I just want to read whatever. And I'm hoping that I might be willing to read more in my life, just for the fact that I'm just reading things that I really want to read. But I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!